Hello, my name is Luke Lawrence and I'm going to tell you today a little bit about my record collection. I started collecting records in about 2010 or so. I originally wanted to just take the record sleeves and put them in frames and kind of hang them on my wall in my room or just wherever. I wanted to use them mainly as art, but then a lady at my mom's church said, I have this old record player and I know you collect them now, so would you like it? And I said, sure. And so I started actually playing the few records that I had, and I thought, wow, this is kind of neat to have records and do all this stuff. And so then I started collecting more and more and more, and about 300 or so albums later, here we are. I get my records mostly from local music stores, or just music stores in general. There's Forever Young Records in Grand Prairie, Doc's Records out in Fort Worth. Any half-price books anywhere is always a good place to find records. And you can usually find them just at like thrift stores or whatever. Barnes & Noble even carries vinyl now, so that's kind of cool. When I buy vinyl, I'm looking for quality of the sleeve and quality of the vinyl itself. I don't want stuff that's too scratched up and you can't play it, or if the sleeve's all torn or has stickers on it or whatever. But sometimes I'll make an exception, like if it's a pretty rare record, I'll break some of my rules and I'll buy it, even if it's in terrible shape, because it's always good to buy something rare than to pass it up and never see it again. So. This was the first album that I ever bought on vinyl. This is Abbey Road by the Beatles. This is one of those records that I bought to hang up on my wall, but quickly realized that listening to them was more fun. This is an original copy from 1969. Great year for music. Not a great year for the Beatles because they broke up. Anyway, I got this for about $12, I think, at a half-price books in Fort Worth, and so yeah, this is the starting point. This is where it all began. This is the first Bob Dylan record that I ever bought. This is John Wesley Harding. This came out in 1967. This is it's a folky album. It's got some country stuff, some pedal steel on a few of the songs. Really good stuff, very folky. I bought this in Santa Fe, New Mexico. And when I bought it, I left it in my mom's car overnight and went inside the hotel or wherever we were staying, and I just kind of forgot about it until the next day in the afternoon. And it got pretty hot that day, and so when I came back out to get the record, it had completely warped. Like the vinyl itself had gotten hot and melted and kind of dipped and stuff. So it's always good to take care of your records, keep them out of sunlight and keep them in a cool place. I had to learn that the hard way. And when you store them, a lot of people say you should store them with the spine, or I guess just straight up like this, and you can have the spine facing out so you know what the album is. And try to avoid stacking them on top of each other, because there's all kinds of theories as to why that's bad for it. I don't actually know them, but it's always good to just take good care of your vinyl, and that way you can enjoy the music for many years to come. One of the things that I like about collecting vinyl is you get kind of cool stories as you go about collecting, like this story. This is Neil Young's Time Fades Away. This was his follow-up to his massively successful Harvest album. Harvest was a kind of a mixture of folk and country and just good, mellow, kind of California music. And everybody loved it. It had Heart of Gold on it, it had Old Man on it. It was just great, big success. And everybody wanted him to follow it up with more mellow music. And instead, he went out on tour, and for a variety of reasons, he recorded a very dark live album with some heavier music on it called Time Fades Away. And it comes with this, it has here, this massive, massive poster with all the lyrics for all the songs on there, and all the musicians who played and everybody. And it's kind of neat. It's too big to do anything with, but it's neat to have. They fit that in the little sleeve. And but the really cool thing about this album is that it has never been issued on any other medium. It's never been on cassette, it's never been on 8-track, it's never been on CD, and up until last year, it wasn't even available digitally. It's only available on an obscure site that Neil Young himself created, to where he can put out his own music digitally. Oh no. So the only way to get this music is if you have it on vinyl, and I just so happen to have it on vinyl. So just a cool story that you get with collecting. Another cool vinyl story I have is about this record, which is by the Beach Boys. It's from 1972. It's called Carl and the Passions So Tough. It's actually a double album paired with the Beach Boys' Pet Sounds from 1966. Complete masterpiece, that album. But the sound of Pet Sounds is completely different from the kind of hard rock and roots rock of Carl and the Passions. And the band itself was already looking pretty hairy, pretty different. There were two guys from South Africa in the band, and they were really trying to change their sound. And this pairing of their kind of new rocky rock and roll direction with their old kind of pop, symphonic, Brian Wilson produced sound is a very interesting kind of comparison to listen to the two at the same time. And when they issued this album on CD, they didn't put Pet Sounds with it. So the only way you can experience that change kind of full force is to have it on vinyl. And it's just kind of cool to get two for the price of one. Great record too. In the past few years, vinyl has experienced a kind of resurgence in popularity. More contemporary artists are beginning to issue their music simultaneously on CDs, digitally, and vinyl again. So, for instance, this album here, this is Father John Misty's I Love You, Honey Bear. This just came out in 2015, and it's a great album, really cool. And it's got this really neat gatefold cover with some weird illustrations in there. And it also came with this here. We have the instructions for listening, kind of small. Also, looky there, it also has this download card so I can get it on MP3 if I wanted to. And it also comes with this, another giant poster, this one in color with some kind of a photo collage there, and on the back it's got lyrics to the entire album. And it's really cool to see artists beginning to, take vinyl seriously again and bring it back into popularity. Vinyl is a great way to experience your music because you can actually put your hands on something. It's authentic. It's an authentic way to experience your music. The sound quality of vinyl is truly unparalleled by any other medium. If you have a great sound set up in your house for your turntable and stuff, you can really experience your sound almost better than the digital files and stuff. And it's just really cool to go out and buy a vinyl record and have something. It's a great way to connect with the past, and it's just, it's just cool to have and a great way to experience your music.